Hey, Mighty Men. My name is Scott Clark.
Hey Scott, your retirement is coming up soon. How much time until then?
Hmm. Let me see. I don't know that I've given it much thought, but my countdown clock says I've got 13 days, 1 hour, 50 minutes, and 13 seconds. But, who's counting?
Down to the second.
Down to the second.
Hey, thank you for sitting down with Mighty Men today and giving your insight for your upcoming retirement. The mission of the Mighty Men is to provide men over 50 a mechanism to contribute in a meaningful way to the body of Christ and to positively influence the growing community of Christ followers changing the world. That's exactly what you're doing for us today. There are certain things in our human life that we tend to reflect on more than once. Retirement is one of those things. Scott, I am interested in what you've been reflecting on during your countdown. Not golf, not travel, not money. I have three questions for you. First question: what major things have you learned about your life this last 25 to 30 years?
Dave, appreciate that. It's a very good question. 25, 30 years, a lot's taken place, but I think what I've really started to learn is perseverance. I've been with the company that I'm retiring from for almost 30 years. That's somewhat unheard of anymore, but a long time with them. And my job hasn't always been easy. Um, there have been many times that I just wanted to give up and quit, but I really believe that my talents were best served in that position. So basically, I put my head down and I just worked through it. Um, so often today, I see younger people, and they're quitting their jobs when the jobs gets tough. They kind of want to give up, and they decide to leave. They have this mentality that the grass is greener on the other side. So, I think that I truly believe that this lack of commitment that I see in a lot of people to a company, a cause, or a relationship, that's going to hurt you in the long run. So I'm learning. I've learned perseverance. That you have to be willing to go with the punches and stay in the game. I think the other thing that I've really come to see more recently is uh, treat people like you want to be treated. That for me hadn't always been easy in my job. Unfortunately, I fell into a trap of treating people kind of like the way I was treated, and sometimes that wasn't always good. So what I found is I had to change my mindset to this thing. And I've tried to really convey that to my successor. She's going to be moving into my position. So hopefully that'll make things easier with her as she manages a department within the company and manages the people. Um, and I think this whole idea of treating people that way goes back to the whole idea of God's direct commandment, love your neighbor, and also sounds silly, but the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I truly believe that these basic concepts are the foundation of our relationships, whether it's at work or in our personal lives.
Good stuff, Scott. You just talked about life. What major things have you learned about yourself in those past 25 to 30 years?
Again, 25 to 30 years, long time. Um, it's kind of hard. Where do you begin on things like that? I guess the biggest thing that I've come up with is, I'm broken, and I'm broken in a lot of ways. Many that I never saw, and or didn't want to really see. So I think I look back and I learned this. Looking back at Adam, um, many men and a lot of other men too, but we tend to be passive. We still, I still have to some degree that same problem. That passivity is just, it can cause problems here. So, my wife of 34 years, thank you, she's an extrovert, and I'm by nature an introvert. Now, some people might say, hey, that's a great combination. But we found that, that's not always the case. I've come to understand that the my introversion and my passivity basically drove my wife crazy. She never really knew what I was thinking, how I was feeling. And ultimately, that's not good. That's not good in a relationship. It's not good in any kind of relationship. So, God obviously has a plan for us because I can honestly say we are still happily married. And we're both learning, how better to communicate with each other given our personalities and our traits. So, that has been a big revelation for me. Also, I think looking back over the years, I was a workaholic, and part of that came from issues my wife and I were having at the time, but thank God, we've been able to overcome. But also part of it is just that mentality as men. We feel like we need to work hard, which in my case meant a lot. We needed to make money and be able to support our families. That was what we were there for. And unfortunately, doing that caused me to be away from home a lot and not around for both my wife and or my two girls. And that has caused problems. And I see that there are still some of those issues still out there. But what I've realized is, look, I can't change what I did in the past. I can't do anything about that, but I can change the future. So what I try to do is spend quality time with all of them when I can, and at every opportunity. And for me, it's a learning process. But I believe it's never too late to start. As they say, this old dog maybe can learn a new trick.
Scott, you've learned a lot. That's good. How has your understanding of God and your relationship with God changed these last few years? How do you envision this understanding and relationship with God impacting you and your family going into the next phase of your life?
That's a good question. So my wife and I started coming to Crossroads in 2012. At that time, she had a strong relationship with Christ. Me, not so much. So we were trying to find a church that would fit both of us well. And so a friend of hers suggested we try Crossroads. And I know it sounds weird, it sounds like what everybody else says, but I truly, that first time in there, sitting there, felt like they were talking directly to me. That message was custom made for me. And so, it kind of just resonated, and it was a great fit for both of us. She really found the things that she needed, and so did I. And in 2015, so much so that by 2015, as a direct result of our journey group and the church itself, I got baptized. I got baptized by my wife, and incredible experience. And and I really, I still have a lot of questions. But as one person in my journey group had said to me at one point, instead of always asking why, start asking why not. I was, I had a lot of questions, and I couldn't get past it. That was kind of my background. I'm an accountant. I like hard facts, and as we all know, there are no really hard facts and things of that nature. And I relate a lot to Thomas. The doubting Thomas. I need to see and feel to know something's real, but unfortunately, that's not likely ever to happen to me. So I really, really got to work on my faith. And I think God has put people in my life that He talks to me through and leads me and really helps me with that whole area. And a good example of this is where I volunteer. So I'm a regular volunteer. I've been a regular volunteer since 2012 down at City Gospel Mission at the Friday Night Diner. And I remember that service where Brian's telling us, hey, I need your seat. If you're not going to do something, I need you to be involved and do something. So we went out to the atrium. I signed up to serve dinner down at City Gospel, and we went. And here it is. We're driving downtown, coming into Over the Rhine in the evening, pulling down a dark alley, coming in the back of a building, going into their basement. And I'm sitting here all the time going, oh my God, what the hell did I just get ourselves into? But here I walk in there, and wow, it's just nothing you could have imagined. the lead at that time, Chris, was telling us how the evening was going to go, and she told me, "Hey, I'm going to need you to work the floor and greet the guests and everything." And I'm looking at her going, "You obviously can't be talking to me because that is just not in my nature. I'm not the meet and greet type of guy. I'm kind of the one who works in the background and supports other people." But she was insistent upon that and pushed me out there. And honestly, as they say, the rest is history. I'm now a lead for the volunteers that come down to City Gospel, and I can honestly tell you that. That has just been life changing to me, and as a lead, I'm hoping that I can give that same type of experience to other people to come down there and truly serve other people and get that feeling that I did, and possibly have a life changing event like I did. And so I truly believe God put me into that position so that I could better understand that we're all His children. We all deserve the love and the respect of children of God. And I didn't think that way originally of the homeless, of people that were less fortunate than me. And this whole experience down there has been very humbling to me, but very much needed for me. So going forward, my hope is really that I'll lead my family by example, and that example is a godly one, that my children will see me differently and will want to follow me and follow my lead in their own ways. Um, I may never be that outgoing evangelist, has all the right words and sounds fluent and all this other things, but I'm hoping that by my actions, the things that I'm doing, that all that will really come through. And I've said this many times to my wife. My hope is that someday I truly hear God tell me, "Well done, good and faithful servant."
Thank you so much for your time and wonderful insight, Scott. God bless you and your family through this next phase of life.
Thanks a lot.